Right, we are getting much closer to the start of the action in today's single game between England and Sri Lanka in Sharjah. We've seen the toss. We know that England will be batting first for the first time in this tournament, so a very good test for them. And Sri Lanka will be hoping, obviously, they can keep England down to the sort of total that gives them the chance of a successful chase, something which they kind of deserve the way they played their cricket. But obviously, some of us have axes to grind, interests to maintain, and we've actually had a bit of a chat here about what the optimum score might be, or what the actual scores might be. We'll reveal that later. Let's not quite get to that just yet. But first of all, let's just confirm the teams. Both teams actually are unchanged from the previous matches that these two sides have played in the tournament. So England resisting Sir Viv's ideas of maybe changing it around a bit, giving other people a chance to have a game. They've got the same opening partnership, the same middle order, the same combination of spin and seam. Timor Mills, for instance, who's been in the side all the way through, he keeps his place. There was a chance maybe that Mark Wood might have taken over as the more experienced player, but that's the same 11 that England played in the last game, and obviously they won 3 from 3. Now for Sri Lanka, again, they might have had a little thought about maybe putting a spinner in for a seamer, but they also have gone with exactly the same 11 that played here the other day against South Africa. They came second, but not by far. Didn't quite have enough runs on the board, and they didn't quite have the resources at the end to keep South Africa down, but they are a young team, as their coach was saying, and they'll be hoping that that enthusiasm that youth brings will give them the spring in their step to take them to victory.
Yeah, I think it's very good for Sri Lanka to go with the same team. I do feel that they're a young, experienced, young team that, as the coach said. So it's very important that you give the opportunity in this pressure match, because it's a do and die match for Sri Lanka, to the players who have already know these conditions. So I think for Sri Lanka it is definitely there. तो अब क्या कहेंगे, दोनों टीम्स अनचेंज्ड नहीं है. आप यही कह रहे थे इंग्लैंड चेंज नहीं करेगा टीम को अपनी?
नहीं करना चाहिए था, और आप नहीं ले सकते किसी चीज को लाइट. और ये जिस तरह उस दिन यहाँ पे स्पिनर्स ने जितनी भी बॉलिंग की है शारजाह में, वो इतना ज्यादा स्पिन तो यहाँ है नहीं है. शाइनी पिच है, और जब अब ये जो मैं तो वहाँ सबको पता है जहाँ पिच जैसे वो जूट कपड़े से बनाते हैं, तो कई दफा जब वो शाइनी होती है तो आपके जो पहले 2 से 3 ओवर है उसमें थोड़ा सीम भी होता है, और बाद में आपका स्पिन नहीं होता ज्यादा, और उसके ऊपर आपके रन्स बनते हैं. कई दफा ये शाइन नहीं होती, वो डल सी होती है, उसमें बहुत ही नीचे और बॉल होल्ड करता है. मुझे ये लगता है कि आज इंग्लैंड के पास एक चांस है कि इस टूर्नामेंट का हाई स्कोर करें. अभी तक तो 171 शारजा में किया था बांग्लादेश ने, और वो डिफेंड नहीं कर पाए थे. तो इसलिए जिस तरह एक्सपीरियंस है, जितनी लंबी उनकी बैटिंग है, और जिस तरह की उनकी जैसे यंग टीम की बॉलिंग है, आज मेरा ख्याल है कि
यंग टीम
180 तक मैं देख रहा हूँ.
राशिद भाई, टॉस आपने हमेशा कहा है बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले करेगा. पहले टॉस से पहले इन दोनों टीमों का डिफरेंस ज्यादा नजर आ रहा था. आपको लगता है टॉस जीतने से और इधर मैच होने से कुछ उसमें कमी आएगी, इस एडवांटेज की वजह से?
यूटिलाइजेशन देखनी कैसी करनी है. अभी बटलर या रॉय हैं, इन्होंने फास्ट बॉलर कमिंग, स्टार्क और हैजलवुड को पनिश किया था इन्होंने बहुत ज्यादा. लेकिन यहाँ स्पिनर्स आएंगे, फर्स्ट इनिंग स्पिनर्स पावर प्ले में, और ये अगर बैकफुट पे गए ये फंस जाएंगे. जितने भी प्लेयर्स आप देखें आउट हुए छोटे पाँव से या बैकफुट पे गए तो पाँव पे लेग भी 4 हुए हैं. तो ये देखते हैं किस तरह से टैकल करते हैं टिक शानो को या
आप बटलर की बात कर रहे हैं. हमारे पास एक पैकेज भी मौजूद है बटलर का, जो आप बात कर रहे हैं स्पिनर्स के अगेंस्ट बहुत अच्छे कदमों का इस्तेमाल.
अब ये इनके डिफरेंट बॉलर्स आ जाएंगे. ये देखिए, ये बॉलिंग की है, कमिंग्स हैं या हैजलवुड हैं या मिचेल स्टार्क. ये शॉर्ट ऑफ लाइन उन्होंने लेग क्लियर की है. अब यहाँ पे ये किस तरह से बैटिंग करते हैं ये देखना होगा. स्पिनर्स के आगे जाना पड़ेगा इनको. अगर ये बैकफुट पे गए और बॉल अच्छी लेंथ पे है तो इनको ट्रबल हो सकती है, क्योंकि 3 बैट्समैन इनके शुरू के हैं जो कि खेल रहे हैं मुसलसल. मलान की बैटिंग नहीं आ रही, मॉर्गन की बैटिंग नहीं आ रही, और यहाँ पे अगर अंडर प्रेशर इनकी बैटिंग आई, वो देखना है कैसे टैकल करते हैं.
उमर, आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहेंगे?
नहीं ज़ाहिर बात है कि डिफरेंट वेन्यू है शारजा पे पहला मैच है जिस तरह कोच ने उनके कोच ने किया हमें एडवांटेज है कि हमें आइडिया है कि यहाँ पे किस तरह खेल ले तो आई थिंक टॉस के बाद तो आप मैं जाऊँगा श्रीलंका के साथ
अच्छा
श्रीलंका यस आई विल गो विद श्रीलंका
श्रीलंका जीत जाएगी
I heard that. That was very clear.
He repeated it in English also, so you
Just to
really
make sure.
Yes.
Just to make sure. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll say just 3.5 hours.
It won't be long.
Let's see.
Can we have those scores? You know, we actually had a sort of bit of a question amongst ourselves as to what the score would be at the end of this England innings. We've made a note.
Keep it secret.
So, can I read? Depends if I can read it.
Yeah.
Sir, which I'm guessing is Viv, 160. You reckon England only going to get 160? Aaqib says 180. I think that's the highest. Rashid 173. So still
173 England.
Yep.
175 Sri Lanka.
Again, time will tell. We'll see you later. Umar, you're a little bit more pessimistic. You're just saying it's 150, which obviously gives Sri Lanka a better chance of winning, which is why you're so confident. Sana 177. I went 178. So.
And I'm 164.
You're 164.
The one who note all the scores, you did not mention.
Well, he's put himself in a different category at the top there. There's a special box for Azhar. Okay, one other man to look at, Jason Roy, who didn't make so many runs against Australia, but in the first game England played against No?
Yeah.
Yep, we have, yep. And he's another very, very positive player. So, I mean, if you look at it this way, if these two fire, we've seen Butler, we can see what Roy can do as well. If these two fire, those scores are going to be an underestimate.
Yeah, absolutely, because they got a firepower, they got all the shots in the book, and if they are on, like I said, you know, like they can, these are the team, you know, like they can get more than 200 runs on this pitch. But when they fail, they can get bowled out for 100. But looking at the pitch is, you know, like slow and low nature of the pitch, you know, like it's not easy. But it's very important Sri Lankan bowler to bowl, pitch it up early on, because if you see that against Australia, these guys were playing hard length and they were clearing their front leg and then hitting all the shots. So they need to pitch it up, especially on Sharjah, you know, like where balls stay low.
Yeah, this is why, as we said at the start of the show some hours ago, for England this is a great test. First of all, batting first for the first time in this tournament, in this section. Secondly, playing at Sharjah for the first time.
It looks a good track. What I love about the track in itself is the sheen that you get at the top of the track in itself. I could be giving that sheen a little competition. looks good. Let's see how it plays. You know, that's the most important now, because sometimes looks can be deceiving.
As we tended to see at Sharjah. All right, before we I just want to change the subject very, very quickly, because Sir Viv, our great friend here and friend of the show, you want to say something about Antigua? It's independence, anniversary of independence today.
Thank you so much. We are celebrating our independence today, the 1st of November. Let me take this opportunity to wish all Antiguans and Barbudans around the globe, at home, the very best. Have a great time, and always remember to stay safe.
Happy Independence.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to wish every independent state well, including Pakistan, and now England, of course, now that it's free of the European Union as well, has become an independent state. And we are, dare I say, somewhat adrift at the moment, but there we go. Right, we had those tweets we told you about at the start of the show, the questions that we were asking you to do with this game today between Sri Lanka and England. Can Team Sri Lanka put up a brave fight against undefeated Team England? There was a slight bias in the question early on, and it's suggesting that the response from everyone at home watching this programme, they're still saying that England are favourites, but it's 68.7 to 31.3, so it's...
I guess most of the votes happened before the toss. I'm guessing.
Could be.
Yes,
Well, we'll see.
yes.
Okay, we'll have a
I'm
post-toss
guessing.
Good
result.
talk, yeah.
Okay, but that's the first response. Do we have any more, I wonder? Yes. Which player will top score in today's exciting matchup between England and Sri Lanka? Well, England are batting first, so the pitch is fresh. Jos Buttler is in excellent form, so I'd say that's a pretty obvious response.
Are you impressed with Pakistan's voting intelligence?
I'd like to say, in all categories, of course, yes, I'm supporter of the democratic process, wherever you are.
Okay, great.
And the final one then. Which bowler will take the most wickets in today's matchup between Team England and Team Sri Lanka? Poor old Lahiru Kumara just seems to have voted rather badly there after that performance against South Africa. Hasaranga, one of the good spinners, one of the better spinners in this tournament. It's basically between Hasaranga and Adil Rashid. So two of the good spinners. And it seems again that the voting public has decided that the England spinner might just outbowl the Sri Lankan one. In which case, your predictions, gentlemen, of Sri Lanka winning this game, if the public is right,
But still, Adil Rashid will take more wicket.
and still lose.
Still, Sri Lanka will lose.
I love this. I love this. I mean, can we fast forward the game?
ठीक शाना हाँ
ठीक है?
Ah,
ठीक शाना बॉलर का नाम
ठीक शाह वो कह रहे हैं आप ठीक शाह तो नहीं बोल रहे ठीक शाह
ठीक शाना
ठीक शाना. Yeah.
the mystery that is Tikshana, yeah? You reckon that'll be tricky early?
Yeah, I think so.
Because that's, okay, because we've seen so often in this tournament, the wickets that might or might not fall in the first literal half hour of the game, the first 6 overs of the game, they can dictate exactly what goes on later. They can set the tone. So if that little bit of mystery works early on, these predictions might sadly become true.
Can happen. Can happen. But if like if Butler and Jason Roy stay for 6 overs, then you end up having a 60-odd runs in the first 6 overs, and then then might thing get changed later on because they got a firepower. They can bat till number 10. Anything can happen, but highly unlikely you can see a bad result for England.
But Sir Viv is always on the side of the underdog.
Listen, England, they're a good team, they're a good side, they're playing well, they're pretty confident, but there's always that upset around the corner. And whenever you're playing that well, you should always be worried about the next game.
Indeed. Well, if it's compulsory, which it's not, to have an upset, now is possibly the time to have it, so that you still qualify.
Yeah.
You might not quite get the semi-final you want necessarily, because that is part of the planning. Get the, as it were, the optimum semi-final, the one you want to take on, as opposed to the one you're rather more frightened of. So that you might not get that, but now is the time to have the upset. As long as from then on, and obviously in the knockout games, the final or the semi-final.
You don't want it in that stage at all.
No.
This is the best time for you to get the knockout punch. You may have enough time to recover.
Tactics all the way. All right, let's just work it out. So, two men saying Sri Lanka will win. Did we get a prediction, Aaqib?
England, because उसकी वजह ये है कि tournaments की history देखें, the team started unbeaten until the semis, knocked down, go home. One of teams like that.
David, you have got no support whatsoever.
No,
That's all right. Hang on,
He only wants England to win so they can get knocked out in the semi-finals. That's what he said.
Well, no, we can argue about that
Most
later.
of the time, these are the tournaments
It's happened.
happenings.
and it
Okay,
can
let's-
happen.
It can happen.
Okay, Viv's on the side of the underdog, so that's 4. That's 4 votes for Sri Lanka. Are we blue passporting?
Yeah, blue pass. Coming soon.
Or coming blue?
Coming
we're
soon,
applying for the
yeah.
It's red at the moment.
It's
Sorry,
a-
we're all
Yeah.
getting a
You
blue.
wore a blue shirt and England is now.
England. I'll go with
We have
England.
to change it to a red shirt
Yeah.
to match the strip later.
Okay.
Just to,
In the post-match, we'll do that.
but we're good for England, yeah?
Yeah, good for
Good
England.
for England. Sana, does it matter?
I guess
Are you going to show your colours here?
I wore blue, so I think I'll have to go for Sri Lanka because England has changed the shirt.
Well,
Make it
actually, all right.
automatic.
Okay. As a get-out clause, we realised at the start of the day that if you just said we're going for blue, that covers both teams, which could mean a tie, which could mean the first super over.
Possibilities?
Interesting.
And it's the best day to have a super over because there's only one game.
Only one game. And we've not had a chat about a super. Are we craving a super over? Who wants a super over? Anyone?
Oh, I don't mind.
Afghanistan
mind.
versus India.
Oh,
Here we go. Now there is a mischievous call.
deep thoughts.
Gone deep again.
So that would be the only excitement when India is playing in this tournament. Have a one super over. Otherwise, there's nothing.
And if they have to have it, you'd also, your mischievous streak, you'd love to have it against Afghanistan, wouldn't you?
Yeah, why
Between
not?
those two.
Why not?
I love it, the excitement of the game. All right, well, we've done our best to set the game up, that is for sure. The excitement we hope, or some of us hope, will be provided any moment now when Butler and Roy walk out. Doesn't matter whether they're wearing blue or red, the way they play.
And they're exciting team, you know, like that's why they are #1 team in the world, no question about that. And they're ticking all the boxes, you know, like in any department, you know, like spin department or pace or batting ability.
And here's the other, if for any reason this opening partnership, which has been successful, has a bit of an off day, okay, here's another way of looking at it. That gives the middle order that's hardly batted
An
a
opportunity.
chance to have a go.
Yeah, you have Owen Morgan. We don't know what he's capable of yet in this particular tournament. And as you go down the order, this is why I felt earlier that sometimes you need to just bring some of the reserves in, especially when you're going that well.
Yeah, but
You know, in order for you to just mix things up a little bit.
but the point is now, we just worked it out. The team that's played hasn't had a chance to bat yet because the top 4 have done all the batting. So
Well,
they're actually getting their chance
So if you
today.
remove the top order,
Yeah.
well, Sri Lanka they're in with a good chance then.
Yeah. They did shuffle the batting
Okay.
order in the first match, which was good for England. They did shuffle it up to improve their run rate.
Yep.
But we'll definitely see how this match goes. For now, we'll go to live action. आपसे मिलते हैं रात में दोबारा on Game On है.